and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264, VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
My name is Tao Familani, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and I welcome you to the midweek edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Now, in the next 2 hours, we're going to take you around Nigeria to bring you interesting news stories. Join us as we take a dive into all of them. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and on the show this morning, National Human Rights Commission reveals Nigeria recorded 700% surge in abductions in November as Kwara government confirms arrested armed men are Mieti Allah members involved in the NSA Ribadu-led security operations. So when we move away from that, Nigeria police placed commands on alert as NLC nationwide protest begins today in Lagos and Abuja. Nigeria's Corporate Affairs Commission chief accused of forcing small businesses to pay inflated registration fees. Now, these are the major topics of discussion. But like I said, there are also other interesting trending stories that we'll weigh on in the course of this program. Come along with us. Good morning, Moses.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Fina.
Good morning,
Good morning, Fina. Well, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Welcome to VOP this morning. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Fina. Okay, Chuku, without wasting much time, let's talk about the trending stories that Nigerians are reacting to. Some women from Kula community in Akuku Toro local government area of River State on Tuesday protested lack of electricity, water, and other basic amenities in the community. During the protest, the women decried the absence of basic amenities despite several years of oil exploration and presence of oil companies in the community. Speaking on behalf of Kula women, the leader, Obele Fisi, said that the community had faced long years of neglect by both the government and oil companies. Another protester said that many residents of the community depend on water from poorly dug wells for their daily water needs. She urged the government and all companies in the community to take steps towards restoring electricity and water supply to the community. And this made me to, I could recall, it was Falana that wrote, I think, an article. He said, Niger Deltans should be the richest, not, they shouldn't have anybody in that region that would say, I'm poor, I'm lacking one social amenity or another. But reverse is the case. The people or the place where will have the major revenue generation for Nigeria. Ever since the oil exploration began in that region, it has been one protest to another, the neglect of the people, and it is from their soil, from their land, that we are getting the major things sustaining Nigeria. And yet, there's no electricity, there is no water, clean water for them, and all the basic amenities. And people are asking, why should we have such play out? The Ogoni land till tomorrow, some part of it is still in ruin. They've not cleaned it. Both the agreement from the government, Nigerian government, and also the oil companies situated in those locations. I learned there was a particular committee that was set up sometime in the international bloc. At the end of the day, there was an agreement reached. These people should do this, the government should do this. All the other private entities were able to do theirs. Nigerian government are yet to do that. And they are going back for more oil exploration in the region. It is not really a sweet one at all, if you ask me. I don't see the reason women will come up to protest what they needed. The water essentially is very important for human beings. Water to start with. There's no water. There is no electricity. You don't talk about food, talk about even education and every other thing that they will be needing to make life worth living for themselves. And the government will wake up and say, maybe some people, I saw online where people are complaining or rather commenting, why should we get this at this point? Is it that these people are being sponsored? No one is being sponsored to do this. We know that even in the city area and in suburbs, sometimes we don't have presence of, basic amenities, modern basic amenities. Now, let me use the word modern. But if you get to some places, it is quite appalling that till today, after 65 years of independence, Nigeria, we are still grappling with some things that should have been a thing of the past and all that. It doesn't really speak well. Government of Nigeria, not just the River State government, please get your team, go to Kula, check out what is happening there. Let's actually find a way to, because if these people keep on protesting, today is Akukutoro local government area, River State. Tomorrow, it will be someone else, the Ogoni 7, I guess they've granted a pardon. Sarariwa died fighting for the clean of Ogoni land and all that. And till today, we're still getting this back and forth. I don't really think it's a good one at all.
So they're protesting. Protesting to who, really?
The government to come in. Yeah, the government.
I think they should hold their sons and daughters responsible, because if memory serves me right, I mean, NDDC was created to solve some of these problems. And in the past years, we've seen monies go missing within NDDC. And, you know, you start to ask yourself, I mean, there was a time I was, working with an organization with links to NDDC, and we see projects come out. You see, when you do the presentation, you see a list of projects, Begema, names of areas where roads have been fixed, and the rest of them, you know, all those names. And then when you see those, I mean, I can remember reading a lot of those scripts of projects. I can remember even traveling to some of these areas at that time to see work being done. But then you hear the people still complain. So you start to wonder, those works done, were they not done?
It was Zele Fadima that told us that pictures were taken of the particular road.
I've been to areas.
And at the end of the day, the project was abandoned. Nothing happened. I think those in the river basin too were.
So basically, the protest should be against those that had responsibility to cater to the well-being of the people. I think government has done something. It may not have been enough, but government has done something. 2020, it was 40 billion. All right, 40 billion naira that the Senate was probing, misappropriated from NDDC. It was the same NDDC we had somebody feigning to have fainted. It
was also an NDDC that they had to up the mic.
It was still NDDC,
yes.
We had to up the mic.
Niger Delta Ministry and all that.
So those who have interfaced with government on behalf of the people, I think the people know them. They should be brought out and made to answer questions. How have they used? The other day, we saw a child of the Niger Delta showing off his house in the village. I'm talking about Asari Dokubo, showing off his house in the village. How, showing off affluence and the rest of it. But then your people are suffering. They don't even have potable water. So I think the people should take their protest to the doors of those that have, that have been responsible with interfacing with government for their benefits. Those are the people that they should protest against.
Yes, those are the people. And
as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, as far as you're concerned. No, you are very right. And I like the fact that you talked about responsibility. I'll say that it is, I'll call it shared or collective responsibility. I spent a good part of my adult life in the Niger Delta area, River State to be very precise. And I also had a brief stint with the oil service company, and so I understand these problems clearly. When I say collective or shared responsibility, government is liable, both federal and the state.
Yeah.
The oil companies are liable too. The indigenes are liable. Youths, indigenous contractors are also liable. But it's a pity that for over 100 years, we are still discussing lack of potable water, especially in riverine areas. I understand that the waters in the riverine areas may not be potable, it might not be aquifer, but there's a process of filtration. The technology is there. Nobody's asking you to develop the technology. The people that are gifted intellectually have already developed the technology. So what you just need to do is to buy and deploy. We are not doing that. When I say the federal government takes responsibility because for a very long time, the federal government has looked the other way while the people of the Niger Delta suffered. And when NDDC and the Niger Delta Ministry, both of them, when they were established, the federal government also became part of the problem. How did they become part of the problem? There was a certain managing director of NDDC, who was appointed, interim managing director, and he said, let's conduct an audit on the contracts and all of that, it was discovered that 85% of the jobs, contracts were awarded to members of the National Assembly. Out of those 85% jobs, about 95% had been paid for upfront. And when they went down, they discovered that 100%, about 2% of those jobs had just been started. Well, I'm talking about a space of 6-8 months, when full mobilization had been made. And so the National Assembly is also responsible. Now, when you talk about the state government, we see people build flyovers in city centers, and they take credit for it. Like I say, they always have a false sense of accomplishment. Meanwhile, you have people who cannot provide basic water. People have to be alive now to use the flyovers. You cannot provide basic healthcare, basic education, and all of that. If you travel through Ogoni land, in this Akukutoru area, Ogubolu and all these places, you will shed tears. You shed tears for the people. I recall that Alam Yesia was apprehended in London. Why? Because he bought a wristwatch that is valued at about £460,000 at that point. But this is a man, if he sits in his penthouse, atop his penthouse, and when he turns, he sees his people, his kingsmen, scoop water from the same canal where they defecate. They use the same water to cook and other things. Now, that is the burden that the people carry. And they have leaders who have shafted them all over the period. This protest is not going to amount to anything. It will just fizzle out the way we are talking about it. The Ogoni people have tried in trying to hold to account the government, but what did they get for it? Their sons were killed in the process and all of that. So what needs to be done in the Niger Delta is collective mobilization. I understand too that, like I said, the people are the problem. You talked about Ogoni cleanup.
Yes.
I also understand that High Rep complained that work is being done. A former chairman of the High Rep was shoved aside. I also did a research and I discovered that 65% of the jobs were given to indigents. What did they do? They walked away with the money, went to townships and built houses. And so the people keep suffering. So it needs collective mobilization of good intentional people. That is, people that are well-minded in Niger Delta to come together and hold the government to account. The militancy didn't solve the problem. What did they do? They just gave some people scholarships and all of that, gave some people contract to protect pipelines. Moses talked about an individual who had to, display his mansion on social media. 1 out of 1 million people, does it solve the problem? No, it doesn't solve the problem. So what is needed is collective effort to tackle the problem. Like I said, it is layered. Federal government, state government, the people themselves, the indigents. And when I talk about layered responsibilities, I talk about the youth. A certain oil company in Port Harcourt wanted to rent a house for their staff. And when they got a house, it was within a street. And they said, oh, this street, it is not paved. So let us come and construct the road, tar road and all of that. And when they mobilized tractors and equipment, say, you know what, the youths came out and said, you have to pay us before you start work. And the company said, oh, beautiful, don't worry, we are coming to pay you. They pulled out their equipment, went to another place that the road was paved, rented an apartment for their staff. And that was how that community lost that road. The oil companies too are responsible because some of their, as a matter of fact, they have not dealt, what do I want to say? Now, they have not ensured that the people benefit from the resources that come from their land. It's quite unfortunate. Like I said, it's collective responsibility to tackle this menace. Now, let's move away from that. Something big happened in Abuja, I think yesterday, during the launch of a book on Muhammad Buhari, and so many revelations were made. Aisha Buhari, wife of the late former president, Muhammad Buhari, has revealed that rumors claiming she planned to have killed her led her husband to alter his daily habits, including locking his room. The former First Lady shared her account in a 600-page biography titled From Soldier to Statesman, The Legacy of Muhammad Buhari, authored by Charles Omole, Director General of the Institute of Policy and Security Policy Research. Well, the book was launched at the presidential villa in Abuja with prominent figures, including President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in attendance. Also, Fatima Buhari, daughter of the late former president, has said that her father at one point believed his office in the presidential villa was under secret surveillance. Unfortunate. Well, Fatima, in the new book, stated that the suspicion led her and her late father to communicate by writing notes rather than speaking. According to Fatima, there were occasions when Buhari feared conversations in his office were being monitored, prompting unusual precautions during her interactions. What my takeaway from all of this is that the president was effectively not in charge. You know, I mean, if we have a commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not just a president, but someone who has served as former head of state of the same country, a former general of the Nigerian army, I think he will belong to the intelligence corps and all of that, to say that, look, he's scared that the Aston Villa was bugged and all of that, so he became very careful with his comments and all of that. Well, the president was not tech savvy. You recall that when he went to France and he was trying to fix his talk back and all of that, he had problems with it and he was fiddling with it. But that's by the way. Buhari was not in charge, and all of these things that we are hearing now, I don't know. Well, it's going to help us to understand how cabals, run rings around presidents that we see and that we hear. Now, this is a first-hand account, even though this is as to be told by, Charles Omole is telling the story of Aisha Buhari as Aisha told Charles Omole. So I take it with a lot of belief, a lot of credibility, because it is the first lady that is saying it. Now, that said, Tinubu said Buhari's legacies endure. And Nigerians are asking, what legacies did Buhari leave us with? In the economy, in nation building, and all of that. It's an ongoing conversation. But as far as I'm concerned, Buhari's legacy died even before his death because he didn't have any legacy. One good thing that I see Buhari did was implementation of TSA. That is one. And before he left, he was able to unbundle electricity, correctional facilities, and the railway from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list, where both the federal and the subunits, subnationals can legislate on that. Now, the responsibility is that of the states to take care of, that constitutional amendment. And I think that was one good step towards building a good federalism and restructuring the polity. I want to see governors, take advantage of that provision to build rail lines, for their states and all of that, to reduce the pressure on the roads that we keep building. And some will say will last for 50, some for 100 years, and all of that.
Chikuma, some people will say, if you're asking for the legacy of the president, and you talked about the TCA and every other thing, that shows that it's something. Because the likes of Showolu of Lagos State is leveraging on that to, construct many stations. But now, the thing is this. It's very, very easy for people to... I can recall it was, I think, Sunday Dara or something like that, or Dalong, that said that the president was never in charge. He was being caged and all that. I think this speaks to it too. The former president, not this one. This speaks to it when someone will no longer be comfortable in his house, thinking that the house is already bought. If you're saying he's not that intelligent to understand, then how then is he aware that they need to use notes to start writing? But for me...
No, I'm not sure. I didn't say he was. I said he wasn't tech savvy.
Okay. Now, if you ask me, this speaks volume to what is playing out in Nigeria, especially in a political space where, people don't even trust the people around them to start with. He didn't even trust the wife to start with, to the point that, he had to start locking his room according to the revelation made by the wife and now the daughter, resulting to writing notes. But the question I want to ask is, of what importance is this liberation to Nigeria? That's the first thing. So for the 8 years that we had the former president in office, what value is this information to Nigerians? What are we going to benefit from it? Are they telling us that even the presidency is not secured, Aston Villa is not secured, or what? I was actually expecting to see some better information or more like a good liberation where Nigerians can look at, okay, fine, so this was what really transpired, this was what happened and all this. Telling me about your personal problem and your family issues.
I think these are snippets, within the book. It's 600 pages.
If after the 600 page of the book, this is the only thing they could pull out as extract to tell us.
And mind you, no knowledge is a waste. At least we know now. So this president and probably a future president will become very cautious, and ensure that the villa is not bugged.
It speaks volumes, really. I think it's important that this is out there. It might seem irrelevant. It might seem like trivial, but I think it's important. It speaks to. I mean, Chukwuma nailed it when he talked about the cabal. It just goes to show that even the president, even the commander-in-chief, was scared. At some point, he wasn't comfortable, and all of this, I don't think it has to do with intelligence. I think it has to do more with what you hear. I mean, if you have people whispering things in your ears, so much so that you will start believing some of those things. If he had to start thinking that the woman who had been his wife for a long time, who had, given him children, wanted him dead, then it speaks to some high-level infiltration.
And conspiracy.
And conspiracy. And I remember she also cried out at some point about the cabal taking over her husband. There was even a time there were gunshots fired within the villa. There was a time these things happened. Doors were locked. We heard she raised a storm trying to break into some doors within the villa. So it speaks to what is going on within the seat of power. And I think Nigerians should take this very, very seriously. Right now, we're hearing that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not even accessible. Ali Dume came out and said, look, you can't get to the president. There are people. So people get to positions like this, and they obviously will have people surrounding them. And these people, if these people don't mean well for the nation, they will feed the president with information. And no matter who you are, when you hear something repeatedly, it takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on you. And then so when we see our leaders, I think this points to the fact that when we see our leaders behave in a certain way, it may not entirely, and I use that word very, very carefully, it may not entirely be the leader's fault. If the leader is not directly in touch with the pulse of the people, he may just be feeding off information, giving him the impression that everything is fine, you're trying, you're doing well, and so don't listen to what the people are saying when they complain that, your policies, is biting hard on it. Don't listen to them. It's just a few people trying to make you look bad. So I think it's important that this information is out there. Like you said, it's a 600-page book. There's a lot more that would be in that book. This is telling Buhari's story from Aisha's perspective, according to how it was related to Omoli. And then we might have another book. I mean, Lai Mohammed has brought out his own book as well, who would also tell the Buhari story from his own perspective. All of these things. But I think the presidency, the seat of the presidency, should be protected. I don't know. I just feel there should be some sort of protection for that seat. And those that get close to the president, there should be, some sort of vetting. It shouldn't just be, I have my cousin, I have my friend, and then these people are close to me, so let them be the ones that I will relate to.
Is the presidency that appoint the people close to them?
What more protection? Do we have to turn it to Fort Knox? Fort Knox, the most protected military in the world.
No, but I think more. Who appoints the aides? The president.
The president picks his aides.
That's the thing. So there's no way I can't hold break for
about
that.
The aides now.
Okay, about who? Dan.
It's about
when the senators are telling you that they can't even access him, who allowed them to be there? Who allowed them to be there?
I understand what Moses is saying. You see, within security circles, because I understand that some governors, when they want to step out some way, the security details say no. Mr. Governor, you can't go there. That place is not safe. We have done some sweeping and all of that when we just understand that you might be in harm's way, if you step out. So when at that level, you begin to drum it, into the ear of the governor and the president, look, there are some people that don't mean well for you. We need to avoid them. So it's more like caging. I recall that when Peter Odele was the governor of Rivers State, now his wife, Mary's younger brother, was the chief of staff. Commissioners used to stay like 1 month. They wouldn't have access to the government.
You can imagine.
They will come to the chief of staff's office and sleep through the whole day. They will not be able to access the governor. These things happen in Aso Rock. Now, Alain Dume, highly placed senator, a very staunch member of the APC, is telling us, look, I can't even access the president. You can imagine what will happen to ordinary people.
He could be there waiting and the president will not be informed.
The president wouldn't even know. So there are people who ensure that the president hears what they want him to hear.
Exactly.
It's a big problem.
I'm not
one
holding
wants to
brief
talk
for.
about
I'm not really
protection.
holding brief for anyone.
It runs around the issue of the people that the president trusts. I hear that this Buhari, that his chief of staff, from very close quarters, you know what? His chief of staff, Abba Kyari, will come into where he's sitting, with a file, probably with few other people, with a file apparently to seek approval, and he will speak to him in Fufude, their local language, and he will tell him everything contained in that file, and the president will just be nodding his head
without having to read.
Without having to read, and those nodding of the head is what? That's the approval.
Who are we blaming
and so
for that?
When we hear tomorrow that the president
signed something,
and the president will come and ask you, when did I make this?
So who are we blaming for such action?
So you blame.
I am not holding brief for anybody, but I can tell you categorically that I think because I was a bit close to some person, when Ngige was the governor of Anambra State, he was about having issues with contractors. Guess what happened? Ngige every Sunday will leave the government lodge with a short and a bowler hat and move around the roads that has been constructed, especially within the Oka axis, to measure the thickness of the road and also to check the work of the contractors. Soludo Charles did that also in Anambra State. Now, for instance, to understand, now these are the people that, if tomorrow you wake up and, okay, something played out in Anambra State, a certain building, the contractor have one relationship with the building and they were trying to run around it not to destroy it because of the relationship, and that will impede on the construction of the road. Until when the governor moved around to inspect things on his own, he found out such is playing out. And he asked what happened. And they say because this man is a close ally to the contractor or looking for a way to navigate, destroy another poor person's house for you to allow the rich man to leave. Immediately he said, I sack you as a contractor, pull down this and do my work.
All right.
Now, if every other governor or president can do it.
These things happen from time to time. What we are just saying is that, look, Charles Omole has written Aisha Buhari's account. It should be a good read, for every Nigerian. Let's see what more that Aisha said, in that book. But before we get into the newspapers, I think there's an interesting story about what happened in Guinea-Bissau and all of that. So let's just...
Portuguese judicial police have seized suitcases containing about 5 million euros in cash at Lisbon's Figo Maduro airport and arrested a man described as a close associate of Guinea-Bissau's recently ousted president, Umaro Sissoko Embalo. Now, according to CNN Portugal, the cash was discovered on Sunday after a private jet arriving from Guinea-Bissau landed at the airport. Sissoko Embalo's wife was among the passengers on the aircraft. Investigators are treated the incident as a suspected money laundering case. That's what it looks like. That's what the optics show. Well, authorities believe the funds were being transported to Portugal by the former president's wife and his close associate to sustain the family's lifestyle abroad. A sources cited by the report said Sissoko Embalo was expected to later join his wife in Lisbon, where he was considering seeking political asylum following his removal from office in November, citing concerns for his personal safety in Guinea-Bissau. The cash was seized by the judicial police, while the man found to be transporting the money was arrested and charged with smuggling and money laundering. Other passengers on the private jet were also reportedly questioned and identified, but were not detained. So it speaks to money laundering within Africa and how African leaders still, run abroad, invest abroad, and leave their people in poverty. I don't know if you have other things to say in this regard, but we have the papers to run to.
Yes, it's just a few things. I'm worried that they say it's suspected money laundering. It's not suspected, it's money laundering. Now, what else will it be? This 5 million euros. And I'm also, it's curious that other people, it wasn't a passenger airplane. It says it was private jet. So the other passengers, where were they going to? What were they up to? And all of that.
Maybe close relations.
But like Moses said, money laundering, how Africans, African leaders, shaft their people and go invest in Europe. So Europe is a collaborator too, 5 million euros, because apparently they must have made arrangements to take that money to Portugal and all of that. Quite unfortunate for Africa.
All right, without wasting much time, let's look at what the cover pages of the national dailies are talking about today. And I have the Nigerian Tribune before me this morning, and the window headlines on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune today reads, NLC to hold protest over rising insecurity today. NBA slams police over tainted glass permit enforcement. The banner headline: Dangote petitions ICPC NMDPRA boss fires back. Dangote confirms readiness to provide evidence how I funded my children's education in Switzerland. Farouk Ahmed response insists on thorough probe. 2026 Senate cuts crude oil benchmark to $60 passes MTF. Tax Acts. Dino Melai threatens to sue NAS over VAT provisions. 2027 PDP rallies ex-governors and ex-ministers. AI now decodes sweat for early sign of disease. How mafia relatives held Buhari captive, manipulated him. Right after that story, for 8 years, I beg your pardon, he had wronged people in right places. Aisha explained the stories on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune, and those are the stories you find on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune today.
Okay, let's quickly run through the Guardian newspaper with the window headlines. Downstream sector wobbles as corruption allegations escalate regulatory battle. Trump places Nigeria 14 others on partial restrictions to US. Gas issues. 6 trillion naira debt crippled power generation as discos record lower load profiles. Anxiety, now that's this big story. Anxiety, mistrust cloud Nigeria's tax reform promises, benefits. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Now there's an analytics of all that. Elumelu to share Transcorp hotels abroad. Now the bottom strip headlines. NHRC laments 422,942 abductions, sexual violence, orders in November. And again, NBA kicks against tinted glass enforcement, warns against extortion. That's it from the Guardian newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines this morning. Moses and I return at 10 o'clock for extended review of newspaper stories, both headlines and inside stories. Now we'll go on a short break, and when we return, National Human Rights Commission reveals Nigeria recorded 700% surge in abductions in November, as Kwara government confirms arrested armed men and Mieti Allah members involved in NSA Ribado-led security operations. Join us again, we'll be right back.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us. This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Voice of the People, you can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokobo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenda Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
Uyi Osarite is my name. I am a friend of the microphone. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios. Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging. Picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I'll be like, well, this TV station will go places. Voice of the People TV.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Ovisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Tosin Mohammed. I'm a gospel artist. Keep watching VOP TV.
Almighty Father, you are the mighty Redeemer. We've come to worship at your feet, oh Lord. This is Ayotunde Adejumo, chilling with you on the Voice of the People TV. Don't touch that remote. You are where God wants you to be. Listening to the Voice of the People TV.
The Bible says we should give thanks in all circumstances. And all circumstances include the good times and the bad, the high times and the low, the times when everything look as if they are going well, and those times when Enugbe, the ground is dry like the sand in the desert. Those times when you feel like giving up, you should give thanks still. My name is Jeff Melu, and I'm a gospel poet. And you should keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch that dial.
Yes, sir. We were born to give you twale, to give you a shame. People of God, you are watching Voice of the People TV, and my name is Flo Rocker. I encourage you to listen to things of the gospel. You know, we live in a very perilous times where there are some things you watch on television, you will lose faith, you will lose God. Keep your eyes on Voice of the People TV and remain blessed. Flo Rocker says so. Kuzoshi.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations, shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Mr. Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
My name is Made Kuti, and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Welcome to the locker room.
Good to have you back, and thanks for joining us. If you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, on Tuesday said that it recorded the highest number of abductions in the month of November. The Commission's Executive Secretary, Tony Ojukwu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, revealed this in his speech at the presentation of the November edition of the dashboard in Abuja. He noted that the Commission received 422,942 complaints. In November alone, the Commission recorded over 800 abductions. He lamented that among them were more than 55 farmers kidnapped right from their farms. Mr. Ojukwu noted that some were travelers dragged off highways, students taken from their classrooms, and worshippers abducted during prayers. Meanwhile, the Kwara State government has clarified that the armed men recently apprehended by soldiers in the state initially believed to be bandits, are members of the Miyetti Allah participating in a federal security operation coordinated through the Office of the National Security Advisor, ONSA, where the clarification comes in the wake of public concern following reports that Nigerian soldiers intercepted a group of armed individuals carrying AK-47 rifles while patrolling in a security vehicle in Ifelodi local government area. The suspects claim that they were sponsored by the Ilorin government, a development that sparked public anger and renewed fears over insecurity in the state. We have in the studio with us Barrister Darlington Agomwo. He's a lawyer and political affairs analyst who will help us make sense of this topic. Good morning to you, Barrister Darlington.
Good morning, Mr. Okoro, Fina, and Moses. How are we?
Well,
good morning to you.
Good to have you. We also have beside him Mr.
Somyoranta.
Mr. Somyoranta. How is your name escaping me? Mr. Somyoranta. I normally call you the Port Harcourt boy.
Okay.
Good to have you, sir.
Great to be
Well, he's a philosopher and as well as a public affairs analyst. And from our Oka outstation, we've been joined by Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu. Honorable Egwatu is former member Anambra State House of Assembly. He's a politician and he's here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu. Okay, he will join us in the course of the show. And from our Benin outstation, we've been joined by activist Kevin Ejumudo. He's the National Secretary, Human Rights Protection Congress, and Senior Special Assistant to Delta State Governor on Human Rights. Good morning to you, Kevin Ejumudo, and thanks for being part of the show.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody there out there, and thank you for having me.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us. Gentlemen, we welcome you to VOP this morning. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Somi Uranta. Mr. Uranta, we have these very scary statistics very given to us by the National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria about adoptions in Nigeria. As at last count, we had 422,942 complaints nationwide. And in the month of November alone, the Commission recorded over 800 abductions. Now, in all of this, the war against insecurity, the fight against insecurity, banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, and all of that, how do you think that we are traveling? I'd like for you to, to interrogate it within the context of the last 3 months, especially since Nigeria became redesignated as a country of particular concern, the changes in the security architecture and all of that. If you review all of this, do you think that we are traveling in the right direction at the moment?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think so far, Nigeria have not shown any sign that we are even thinking of traveling on the right path. We have not. You see, the fact that we have not done that, I mean, taking a step towards doing the right thing, is also giving credence to what is happening. Recently now, the Americans, have also banned Nigerians from coming to their country. And it's a step away from totally designating Nigeria as a country of, a terrorist nation. And that would be very terrible for us. Different categories of visas to Nigerians, even those that already have visas. The issue now is that they might even have to cut it back. If you had 5 years visa, they may decide to make it 1 year or 6 months or thereabout. And we are inching closely to being designated as a terrorist nation. Why is it so? Because we still haven't done the right things we ought to do. You see, we have done some surface papering, just try to gloss over issues and make it look as if we are working towards, stopping this menace against the people of Nigeria. But we are actually not. I have said it over and over that until the government released the names of terror sponsors, even just recently now, we had what's happening in Kwara, where the people, the bandits are saying that, or the terrorists are saying that they are being financed by a government. The Minister of State for Defense, the governor that is there presently is accusing the man that this man is a full member of this group that terrorizing Nigeria. And this thing has continued. Okay. That man should be let go immediately. Release the names of people who name them, shame them, and then think of prosecuting them.
Okay.
Then besides that, they also have to officially, stop that policy of de-radicalization and reintegration into the Nigerian army, and then find a way to weed off all the terrorists and bandits that are already in the system. It is when you come clean to this extent that the world will begin to look at your country as if
we are making efforts. I like the clarification you make about the visa restrictions. The initial word used was that Nigerians have been banned. It looks as if no Nigerian, because some of us are still interested in going to the United States. So it's more like visa restrictions, not total ban. So it's important that we make that clarification. I also like the fact that you made the clarification so that the viewer out there will understand that, look, it's some form of restriction, not total ban, not outright ban.
Well, it's not in your hand to decide when this restriction will be lifted.
No, but there are restrictions, not total ban. That's the point you made, and I like the fact that you made that point. Now, Barrister Darlington, Somi Rancher has said, look, we are not traveling in the right direction. I ask again, despite the changes we have made, we have seen the president rejig, the leadership. He changed service chiefs. He even removed the Minister of Finance had to leave, on health grounds. And the president, brought in, an army officer, a retired army general. Nigerians complained that, look, the Minister of Defense and the Minister of State for Defense, none of them had intelligence or military background. And the president said, okay, retired General Christopher Musa, come and head this ministry and all of that. So in all of these changes, the collaboration with the United States of America, the rescue of schoolgirls, rescue of worshippers that were kidnapped, are we not in the right direction? What do you see? What do you think?
We are not in the right direction, and we will never be until the right things are done. What you are seeing now is cosmetics. Cosmetics just to please America, nothing else. Cosmetics. And they are doing it in a very funny manner. Very funny manner. Mr. Okoro, please, can you tell me why terrorists should be in Nigeria by now? Talking boldly, somebody like Toju Bello, directing government what to do, who to prosecute and who not to prosecute, a terrorist. And government have not find it needful to arrest this man and prosecute him.
Barrister, I would like for you to tell, you say we will not travel in that right direction until we do the right thing. Yeah. Barrister, what are the right things?
The right thing, oh my God, thank God you asked me this question. Mr. Okoro, how do you deal with criminals? Do you negotiate with them as a government? Please tell me. That word, criminal, confirmed, not rumor, not propaganda. By the actions of this particular person, he is a criminal. What do you do with him as a government? So, if you are looking the other side, what the man is doing here, applying his trade, what does that tell? It shows that you as a government, you are not ready to solve the problem. You are not ready. There is a report by a state actor, Danjuma Ali Kefas. This is a military officer that have brought the details of what you are suffering. He mentioned names. Even how the former chief officer was killed. Mr. Okoro, today, nobody have even looked at that report. Rather, the man was detained for 64 days. Please, is this the action of somebody who wants to solve a problem? You can see it. But they are telling you when you see something, say something. The one we have said so far, what have you done with it? What have you done with it? They gave you a list of people sponsoring problem in your country, and you just sat on it. Government after government from Buhari to Tinubu, you just sat on it as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, the problem is still festering. So it shows that you the government, you are not ready. Let us know this. If they are not ready, Mr. Okoro, they are not ready. It's like there is something they are getting from this terrorism. If not, no government will tolerate this type of behavior.
All right.
No government.
Sorry. I would like, Barrister, I would like you to respond to this, but I would also like Kelvin Ajumudo to react to this. The three individuals, let's zero in on these individuals who were arrested, found with AK-47 rifles, members of Miyetti Allah. They are members.
In Kwalabi?
Yes, okay. Members of Miyetti Allah.
Good.
But armed by the state, by the NSA, the government of the office of the NSA, the government of Nigeria, to help fight bandits. How does that make sense?
Oh my God. Please, do you have a criminal to police himself? That is, you know that this man is an armed robber. You not gave him a gun. Oh yeah, police yourself, control yourself, arrest yourself. Is that not funny? Mietiala, that you and I know what they stand, what they represent.
Well, we know they are basically cattle wearers.
Yes.
That's basically what they are.
They are hiding under that. Their main problem is what? Violence and mayhem.
Barrister, I don't know that. What I know is that
are
they are cattle wearers. Yes,
are you not here when this organization came out and told us what they want? They made demand. We even gave them 1 billion naira, which was shared by Dambazu when he was Minister of Internal Affairs. This particular organization, they were the one that told Benue, if you don't remove that vigilante group you put in your state, we will make this place uncomfortable. This particular group.
So how is it? How is it now that the members of this group are now being drafted into the security architecture?
That will tell you that they are not serious about what they are doing. Yes, that's what I'm telling you here. How can you arm such a group? Such a group, how can you arm them to do what? Please, to do what? Okay. Can they arrest themselves?
Okay. Let me quickly take this question to Kelvin Ejimodo. Kelvin, now, the same question really. How is it possible that members of Miyetti Allah, who are not military people, who have not been, I don't know if they have been trained to bear arms, but they were given arms. Yeah, basically, cattle wearers given arms and a vehicle, which we later understand they absconded with. They absconded with the vehicle given to them by the government of Nigeria to fight bandits. In fact, if memory serves me right, on this show, we've had a conversation with Sheikh Gumi where he said, look, some of these bandits can be drafted to fight other bandits. And doesn't that seem like what is going on? Help me make sense of this that we have on our plate right now.
You know, thank you very much. It is a national disgrace that a sovereign nation as Nigeria, that have the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, DCFR, President Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, we stoop so low. We have the best military infantry in Africa. You left them, the armed forces, engaged Miyetti Allah, who you know they've always stood against anything that goes against their will of their cattle rearing and their headers.
Could it be that we're running out of manpower?
They come and defend them.
Okay. Could it be that we're running out of manpower? Is that it? And we need more
we can't run out of manpower. We can't run out of manpower. We have the DSS, we have the police, we have the civil defense, we have the Air Force, we have the military, we have the Navy. We can't run out of manpower. Of recently, the president indulged service of the forest guards. Why will you give the Miyetti Allah? You know these persons are they are non-repentant when it comes to issues of herdsmen and their cattle. They value their cattle more than the human life. And you're giving them AK-47 to go to the mission to do what? To combat their own members? They won't do that.
Bandits.
You can't give an armed robber a weapon to fight an armed robber in the forest.
Even a repentant one.
They will and collaborate and turn forces and fight back at you, at the country.
Even a repentant armed robber who knows the operation.
There's nothing like a better armed robber. A terrorist do not repent. In the words of Putin, he said, you don't negotiate with terrorists, you take them to where they belong and where God wants them to be. That's the world beyond. People that put terror on human life, they maim, they kill, they destroy. You give them ammunition to go and do what? To defend who? On whose authority? On whose mandate? Are you empowering Miyetti Allahs? Are they a security organization? Why not use that same energy to call in the US SWAT, and the Black Hawk to come and assist us in fighting these terrorists? Why give them our weapons that tomorrow they will not be able to account for?
Okay.
And vehicles too, not just the weapons, vehicles too.
And taxpayers' money, our money in the country that used to pay.
Sorry, let's quickly bring this back to the studio. You want to react to?
Yes. You see, when you talk about the fact that maybe they're overwhelmed, you're talking about a country, just a week or two ago that actually displayed one of the swiftest and well-precise action against a military coup in Benin Republic. And we showed that we can actually respond swiftly. And we did all that. Nigeria have what it takes to take care of our nation, the security of the and lives of citizens. But I keep saying there is no will, political will to do so, and there is no sincerity of purpose to so do. That is why we have problem. We don't lack manpower, and we have demonstrated that in Benin Republic. So what is this? That's why, look, we are inching closely to being declared a terrorist nation.
So, if you say we don't lack manpower, I mean, we have approval to recruit 94,000 new forces men. Isn't that an indication? Is it indicative of the fact that, look, we don't have enough manpower to fight terrorism, banditry, and criminality?
There is nothing wrong in wanting to bring in new people into the system.
I mean, if it is not broken, you don't need to mend it.
No, you know what I'm saying? As it is, Nigeria have the capacity and the capability, which has been so demonstrated. So you're telling me, if you can do that, doesn't charity ever begin from home anymore?
Mr. Ranta, what could you nail as
how will you see? How will you be so good outside to outsiders? What is the kind of love we have for Benin Republic
Mr.
that
Ranta,
cannot be translated to Nigeria?
We are looking for solutions. What do you think is the problem, and how do we solve it?
The government should come clean and deal with these people. There is, look, even during the time of Buhari, General Tiwa Dajiba has said the armed forces are colluding with these people. If you wait for them, you all die one by one. That's the way the man said it.
Do you know how long it took the United States of America to bring down Osama bin Laden? How long it took them?
You see, from the onset, after 9/11, Americans went all out to smoke him out. Beautiful. And they did. When they got
you know why I asked the question? Yeah. A notorious bandit, Kachala, has just been gunned down by the Nigerian army. Isn't that indicative of the fact that the government is focused?
What about Tuji Bello?
They're after him. They said they are closing in on him.
And he can come out and make it. Say one thing here now, in this studio, and walk out. They will pick you up. There is no sincerity of purpose. Let's just face the facts. That's not sincerity of purpose.
All right. Thank you so much.
The most embarrassing thing among all this. So, if we are lacking manpower, that is why you now go and recruit criminals, Abi. Because you have headache, you now cut off the head, Abi. Is that what you are telling me here?
What do you mean by recruiting criminals?
Really?
Like cattle rearers.
Okay, cattle rearers, Abi. Why didn't they recruit ESM members and IPOB members?
Interesting. Let's take the conversation.
No, why didn't they?
All right, Barrister. Let's get the opinion of another of our guests. Good morning, Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. Good to have you join today's conversation, if you can hear me. And what do you make of this revelation? Because initially, Nigerians were told that these bandits or rather the people that we saw in Kwara State wielding assault rifle AK-47, that they were bandits. And when they were interrogated, they say they were working, or rather they got their guns from the government. And now, a certain Ibrahim Abdulateef, Senior Special Assistant of Communication to Kwara State Governor, the same Kwara State, where we learned that the media were being asked not to report issue of insecurity or insurgency because it's going to denigrate the work of the governor there in the state. It's now coming up to tell Nigerians that the arrest did not even happen in Ifelodun, it happened somewhere in Auchi, Edo State, and that the people who were arrested, they absconded with the vehicle, that they were aware, they were on board or granted those things by the Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria, and they have a policeman in the person of Victor with them and all that. How does this make you feel as a Nigerian? And do you think we are really ready to fight issue of insecurity? Let's also just suppose that with what Atarji Bello said in Zamfara the other day, that Bello Matawale should be let loose. He should be let off the hook after we saw a member of the mediation team telling Nigerians that he has documented information on how houses were renovated, vehicles were bought, even medical cares were being given, monies were being sent to Atarji Bello and other bandits kingpin terrorizing Zamfara and Sokoto and those access.
That the government knows who the bandits are, where they are, and how they are. and have not really shown any kind, any commitment to clearing them out. It's obvious that the government is not being sincere. Anytime I hear anything about these bandits, it points to one fact: government is involved. Anytime there is a story, I know there are stories on the social media that are not entirely true, but every time there is a story around bandits, there is a tie to government getting involved, a tie to government complicity in it, and it is shameful. Thank God we have a new minister for defense. We expect something better to start happening, but for now, it is not just the government is very much aware of who the bandits are, where they are, how they operate, and have not shown remarkable dexterity in tackling these issues. Somebody just mentioned what happened in Benin Republic and how swift the response of the military, Nigerian military was. And this is what we expect from the government as regards these issues. All these stories around the NSA, Matawale, and all the rest of them shouldn't come up if we are not, if we still have some shame in us. I believe the president has a very big responsibility in this to make sure that anybody that has anything to do with these bandits should be taken out and prosecuted as it should be. People should be prosecuted. The other time, they did a magical return of Catholic students that were abducted. Magical in the sense that there was no sign of attacking the bandits and recovering the students. There was nothing, just the student just suddenly appeared from nowhere and nobody was arrested, no record of anybody being prosecuted, no record of anything happening, just appearing from. That's the magical, that's miraculous.
All right.
So
Now, with this revelation that we got today from Ibrahim Abdulateef, with what the former aide to the Sokoto or the Zamfara state governor, is talking about, and also with this report from the NHRC about how they've received 422,942 complaints and over 800 abduction alone in November. What do you think will be the official report of Larry Moore? Because he said that he's going to give the president his information on the findings on Nigeria about the killings and every other activities happening here.
What Larry Moore reported was a personal experience. And I can bet you that what NHRC has reported is not even the exact figure, because so many abductions were unreported. So many things were unreported. So many things happened and they don't go into. People just get tired of reporting because there's no point making reports, because these reports don't lead to anywhere.
Okay.
So the damage is bad. It's terrible. It's a very terrible situation. The security situation is very bad. And if we do a proper analysis, this 400 and something thousand will be a child's play.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. I would like to go back to Kelvin Ejimido and then put this question out there as well. And I'm trying to wrap my head. I don't know. I know that some Nigerians are like me right now, trying to wrap their heads around this story. The Office of the National Security Advisor. In fact, the National Security Advisor himself, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, has come out to say, look, within the military, within the police, there are people who are aiding insurgency. They take weapons to them. They sell their weapons to them. You know, we know some of these people will fish you out and all of that. You know, all of that information was out there. But I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that the government of Nigeria, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, is being accused right now, or is being fingered for giving arms to members of a header association, not militant group, and then a few of them, and vehicles as well, to empower them to navigate terrains and fight bandits. And these people, these ones, ran away with the vehicle and the guns that they were given. AK-47 rifles. And they were apprehended by the people. How many more do you think might be out there who, directly or indirectly, have been empowered by the Nigerian government, as it were, with guns and mobility, vehicles, in the name of fighting insecurity, and they have absconded? I mean, it is the ones that have been apprehended that will bring forward. In all of this, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and it's difficult to understand. But in all of this, what do we expect in the coming days? Are we going to see an escalation in violence? Are we going to see an escalation in kidnappings and the rest of them if non-state actors, untrained persons, brandish guns, are giving guns and mobility, vehicles? What do we see in the coming days? Is this a fight against insurgency or empowering insurgency, as it were? Kelvin Ejimido, please, let's have your reaction, and then Barrister Darlington will also react.
Yeah, you've said it all. It is a disgrace. And personally, I think they did this for an exchange of a deal that they had behind closed doors, allegedly. Because I still try to fathom it out. What is the rationale? What is correlation between Mieti Allah, a Fulani cattle rearing outfit, to national security, the office of the NSA, the most secretive and respected office as far as security attention of this country is concerned? And you give sophisticated weapons. You didn't even give them a double barrel like the hunter guns. You gave them AK-47 assault rifle to move freely with vehicles. And now you are telling us they ran away with it. So where? If we were to be in a sane country, the NSA would have been arrested and tried and prosecuted within the next 48 hours. It's not bigger than the country. It's not bigger than the Constitution. And I keep saying this. With the way our government is playing kid gloves with this issue of insecurity, Nigerians will resort to self-help sooner than we expect. And when that happens, not even the office of the NSA will be able to stand the revolt from the masses. Because enough is enough.
Okay.
Our women,
enough is enough.
Enough
is enough.
Enough is enough.
Okay, enough is enough, Kevin. I'd like to stay with you. Something very crucial happened yesterday. Now, the United States placed the travel restrictions on Nigerians yesterday. It was published yesterday, Tuesday. And this means that Nigerians who hold visas for business, B1, tourism, B2, combined business and tourism, B1, B2, academic studies, F, vocational and non-academic studies, M, and exchange programs, J, are now barred from entering the United States under these new restrictions. Now, my direct question to you is this. America says, look, we are finding it difficult to vet Nigerians coming into United States of America because of operations of Islamic terror groups in Nigeria. We also see collaboration between the Nigerian government and the United States government. What do you think that America is trying to achieve by placing these visa restrictions on Nigerians?
The American government have not seen sincerity of purpose within Nigerian security architecture. They've not seen this willingness, this openness, this sincerity of purpose. You know, you keep coming with frivolous news every day that you have Nigeria is safe, investors come and invest. And you forget that these Americans, they have people in Nigerian soil that report daily to the American government of the happenings in Nigeria. In our villages, in our roads, they are everywhere with us monitoring our space. He who controls the space controls your sovereignty.
So Kelvin, basically asking you, what will be the effects of this on the war against insecurity back home here? What do they want to achieve?
You know, from the day the president said Nigeria is the country of particular concern, we knew this were coming. And more sanctions were rolling. More sanctions we coming. Sooner or later, none of our public servants will be allowed to go into America.
Exactly my question. So how would that impact on the fight against? It will
affect the economy drastically. But more so, it will make those abroad we come back home and join us in the fight to salvage this country. Nigeria belongs to all of us and not to few individuals. We are all Nigerians. My father and mother were better there. So nobody's going to hold us hostage. We must fix our country because now we have soldiers in Burkina Faso that have been there for weeks now. Nothing has been done. A sovereign nation. Burkina Faso, their army strength about
that's another big issue. That's another big issue facing Nigeria now.
Those are issues of concern.
Okay.
When you have a porous security architecture, nobody takes you seriously.
All right.
Nobody wants to do business in your country.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Ejimodo. We need to come back to the studio and let Barrister take his response because we have to let him go to face other engagement. What's your reaction to these two questions? The one Moses asked and the one I asked.
Good.
If you remember very well.
The implication is that the embarrassment is escalating out there. Out there in the international space. Nigeria is gathering odium and infamy every day with this type of thing. It means that terrorists are winning the war in Nigeria. That's the meaning. If because of terrorism, some state actors, government officials can no longer travel. What does that say? It is that they are winning. There are no two ways about it. And you, the government, what are you doing? Nothing. Mr. Okoro, I am so sad that up to today, Tinubu have not ordered the eviction of these terrorists in Benue and Plateau villages. Up to today. It's like those people have been forgotten. Seriously. They have been forgotten. And those terrorists are going to become part of Nigeria. When they do census now, they will count them as Nigerians. That is the implication. Look at how people just come into Nigeria, take over part of our land, and they have settled there permanently, and nobody talking.
Barrister, do you think that the U.S. is surreptitiously trying to maybe spur some form of local dissent against the government by Nigerians?
Look, if there's anybody dissenting against system, it is the government. But all the evidence against them is very clear. It is no longer. Thank God the opposition are not as aggressive as APC used to be in opposition. Whatever is happening to APC today, they brought it upon themselves.
Exactly my point. Do you think that the United States is trying to force Nigerians to hold their government to account?
Of course. Was it not because of the voices we raised that made America to react? Tell me, was it not because Nigeria reacted? Went to the U.S. Congress and spoke.
Barrister, do you think that will be possible? Because we saw this playing out. I said this again and I will ask this question again. In Kwara State, the governor of the state, through an emir, told newsmen or media personnel not to report issue of banditry or insurgency in the state. And then today we're hearing again, and the same Kwara State was where we first got the revelation from Galadima that the reason for them to bring in former or late President Muhammadu Buhari was because of the OPC activity against the Fulanis, and they wanted them to come back to fight. And we're seeing this play out. Now we're also getting another information that the NSA, through the NSA, a joint task force was also, put in place that have foreign, because according to what the CPS said, these men are foreign Fulani breeds in Nigeria giving assault rifle AK-47 to fight people who caused the September 29 carnage in the state and all that. Are we seeing the fight come to an end? And do you think Nigerians can hold our leaders responsible with all the leaders now being pointed to, political elected officials are being pointed to as sponsors or financiers of all these activities?
Look, there is something that you cannot avoid when it happens. There are things that are very inevitable. When some people are saying that they want to leave Nigeria, these are the facts. In a country where you invited foreign terrorists to be killing us, who wants to stay in such a country? Please tell me. In a country where religion and tribe is now state policy, he's a member of my religion, he's a member of my tribe, so he can do anything he likes. Meanwhile, when the other people say, no, we don't like this, you say, they should bring them and jail all of them. Who wants to stay in such a country? Tell me. You can see that the government is fueling this setting by their actions, their utterances, and their inaction. There's no way to describe it. And it's like, even with what we are saying about America, this government just remain relaxed. I have not seen that seriousness with President Tinubu over this matter. Rather, he's looking for 2027. So how can you now tell me that government is trying? If you say, we should give you a report, We should tell you if you see something, say something. And we have been doing that.
Okay, and we have been doing that.
And you are not reacting.
All
So,
right, then,
why should I not?
Thank you very much, Barrister.
Mr. Okoro, do you know that this man they promoted, this ADC, Tinubu had recanted? Imagine if all of us had kept quiet. Would you have known that he made a mistake?
At least that shows you that the president has listening.
No, he doesn't.
Have to say
He
thank
doesn't.
you to you,
If you
Barrister.
have, let them face
Thank you very much to you, Barrister.
Yeah, this is security,
We'll
yes.
have to let you go now. And as we let you go, we'll also segue into the next topic of conversation. Gentlemen, we would like for you to stay with us as we get into the next topic of discussion. Nigerian police place commands on alert as NLC nationwide protest begins today in Abuja and Lagos. Join us again. We'll be right back.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Glad to have you back. It's still VOP this morning. The Nigerian Police Force has placed all state commands and tactical units on high alert ahead of a planned nationwide protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC). The message issued by the Department of Operations at Force Headquarters directed all commissioners of police to carefully reappraise and strengthen operational strategy to professionally manage protests and any civil disturbances which could arise therefore. Police authorities further ordered that all tactical unit commanders should maintain full complement of personnel on standby for rapid response deployment, reinforcement, while commands were instructed to deploy sufficient personnel to strategic locations, including government facilities, public utilities, and other critical infrastructures. The wireless also stressed the need to ensure visible police presence to deter criminal elements who may seek to exploit the situation. In addition, the police commands were directed to engage labor leaders, civil society groups, other relevant stakeholders within command in order to encourage peaceful conduct. The planned protest by the NLC comes amid growing public discontent over economic conditions, with Lagos and Abuja expected to be the focal point of the demonstration. We still have with us in the studio Samuel Ranta, political and public affairs analyst, and from Benin, activist Kelvin Ejimodo, a National Security Human Rights Protection Congress Senior Special Assistant to Delta State Governor on Human Rights Activities. And also we have Honorable Ejiofor Iguatu, former member, Anambra House of Assembly. He is also a public and political affairs commentator. As we also learned today from one of the national dailies that just yesterday night, the president summoned or called for a meeting where we have the NLC and other body of the Nigerian Labour Congress attend the meeting to talk about the way forward and how to find a way either can shelve or not even embark on the protest slated for today. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sleeping with us. I'd like to start off with you, Mr. Sonny Oranta. What do you make of this? The directive by the Nigerian Police Force sending out all tactical team, and even commissioners are being told to make sure they send men to be at strategic points in case if any maybe unscrupulous elements want to usurp this protest organized by Labour Congress for them to, maybe cause one or the havoc or try to distort the peace and disturb the whole nation.
The question is there going to be a demonstration today?
So you think with the president calling them for a meeting yesterday that the NLC will no longer embark on the protest?
If you recall, when this issue came up, when they made the plan that they were going to go on protest, I stated here that Nigerians have lost confidence with the NLC. Nigerians have lost confidence. Severally, it's always like that at the 11th hour, everything will just dissipate and fizzle away. And it has happened again.
Well, what do you expect if government waits until the 11th hour? If NLC says, look, that we will protest, and government waits until the 11th hour and call them in and try to negotiate with them, do you expect NLC to still continue?
In mafiadom, that's what they call an offer you can't refuse. When you are made an offer you can't refuse, you just have to abide by it. You see, I have seen this NLC, and especially this particular one, the Joe Ajero NLC. I knew, and the actions is quite predictable that it will go this way, and they are not the kind of people that would want to disappoint you. So there's no protest.
All right. If you say there's
Nigeria
no
is safe.
Okay.
Nigeria is very safe.
Let's take this conversation to human rights activists, because we learned also that other CSOs are asked not to. The meeting also involves them too. Calvin Ejumudo, what do you make of this? And also, let's look at the reason NLC decided to embark on this protest first. They wanted to, publicly protest economic conditions, the high level of kidnapping or insecurity in Nigeria, and a whole lot more other things that the public are not happy with. Now, do you think that the meeting that happened yesterday, in the words of Mr. Samuel Ranta, they must have been given an offer they cannot reject or say no to, and they decide to throw the people of Nigeria under the bus against their own personal need or their private interest?
Joe Ajero led NLC has been a toothless bulldog from the time memorial that they came into office. There was never a time he has been able to dare the devils that want to throw him off board. But he always go to a meeting at the 11th hour, and he will smile out of the meeting. You see him laughing profusely out of the meeting, and the next thing he will do a press briefing and say, we hereby call up the strike for reasons we've given them another 3 months to do the needful. Do what needful? The language the Nigerian government understands is protest. The only thing that put them on their toes is protest. When we march in the street, when we shout in the street, they will sit up. Not because this meeting, I bet you, this meeting they've gone into now, they will also tell us today that having met with the president, he has given us his words, and we are optimistic that by the end of before now to January 2nd or 3rd, everything will fall out to normalcy, and they'll go back and sleep. They've been sleeping. The TUC and NFC, they've been sleeping. I don't even me as a CSO frontliner, I don't believe in them anymore. Because on several times we've come out to want to protest, and the next thing they'll tell you at 12 midnight. They wait till 12 midnight when people are sleeping. You now see a press release from Ajero that having met with the president, with the ministers, we thereby call up us what protest. We must march and tell them you can't kill us all. A country where fundamental human rights are not respected, they would not ready to be a country.
Kelvin, let me ask you, when NLC comes out in this pattern, the pattern that you have described, do you think they come out because, well, they have seen government superior argument, or do you think they are pressured, like subtle threats and all of that? Or do you think that most times or sometimes that they are some kind of under-the-table deals? Which one of these three will it be for you? Why do they always capitulate?
They came out because it's Christmas period. They want to cash out from the government. They just came out. Now, is it now the kidnapping started? Is it today that they started kidnapping these people? Is a week to Xmas, you are coming out and saying you want to protest because you want to collect rights, you want to collect money from the government. What happened 2 months ago that you go and protest?
But you as a CSO frontliner, were you ever ready? You and your team, are you people ready to join this protest today? Because Joe Ajero, he talked tough.
I'm ready to even let go of my office to say the protest against the government of the day. Because the truth is, we're not secure as a country. Look at the report they brought about fundamental human violations. And you want people to come and invest in your country when you don't respect fundamental human rights of your citizens? It's appalling because tomorrow it might be me, it might be my brother, my mother, my sister. So that's the reason we say freedom comes by struggle, and we shout their Luther song because I need to once, I need to all. It happens today in Mina, tomorrow Jigawa, next tomorrow Katsina, the other day it can be Delta. So that's why we come together to say enough is enough.
All right, thank you so much.
It's not political affiliation. It's about humanity first, human life, human person, the Nigerian dream, the Nigerian personality, the decorum for human life in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much, Kelvin Ejimudo. Honorable Jeffrey Guatu, let's get your opinion on this. Some people were already saying they don't have faith again in NLC. And given the fact that there was a meeting held yesterday, a closed-door meeting that has the likes of Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, Mondo Mebola of Edo State, Nasiru Idris of Kebbi State, even the Minister of Labor and Employment, Nkeruka Onyejocha, in attendance with the President, and Joe Ajero, the leader of the NLC. The information from that meeting is not yet out. But today is the day that the NLC nationwide protest is supposed to take place. And we've seen Nigerian police force giving directive to their men to make sure that they are situated or in locations where they believe strategic locations, so that individuals will not hijack the protest and start causing carnage and all that. Why is it? I'm asking you this question as a politician now. Why is it that Nigerian political elite to wait until the 11th hour before they will call in CSOs or NLC or TUC to say, let's discuss? Because George Erodem, the mention of this protest over 2 weeks ago, why wait till yesterday night to call for a closed-door meeting? What is really happening?
I don't think the Joe Ajero-led NLC is being sincere with their strategy, with their moves. I would have preferred a more strategic engagement with the security agencies. If you feel bad about this security situation in Nigeria, the NLC has access to the IG. The NLC has access to the defense minister. The NLC should lead a delegation to the defense minister and engage the defense ministry on what is happening, give them a first-hand report, and make it public. Go to the IG of police, chief of army staff. They have access to these people. I think that should have been what they would do, and not to sit down in their offices and declare a nationwide protest, which they know they will not hold. They can't hold it. They know they will not hold it. They are just playing to the gallery. I would have said they are chasing clout if it's just about the social media thing. They are chasing clout. People have lost confidence in them in that regard. Whenever they want to go on this strike, the government will always want to come to discuss things on the table. Why not discuss these things on the table before you now declare strikes or declare protests? Why don't you do these things? Sit down with the NSA. The Nigerian Labour Congress can demand to sit with NSA and bring these arguments that we are bringing now to him, and then get reports get responses from him. Challenge him on these things in his office. If you go there and they refuse to let you in, you refuse to go. That would have been a better protest. NSA office, Chief of Army Staff office, would have given Nigerians some, would have learned something new. Engage him in very thought-provoking questions and issues, on so many issues that will bring revelations that will help Nigerians. And not to sit down in the comfort of the office and declare there will be protest. What happens if, in the course of the protest, some hoodlums hijack one area or the other, people die, even the labor members die, or somebody gets injured? What does this solve? So I don't think they are being serious with what they are doing.
But do you think that we need a protest in Nigeria from NLC over the incessant kidnapping from information?
If you're walking on the streets, carrying placards and moving on the streets, how would you help security? But when you engage NSA, the Commissioner of Police, like in Anambra State now, the NLC will go to Commissioner of Police, the small subdivisions go to DPOs, they have discussions. In the course of these discussions, you will realize that there are some things that you need to do more. There are things that they need to do more, and you give them time to see them implement those things that you want them, that you all agree on. It would have been a more strategic involvement that would have yielded more results. So You know, there are so many fake news flying on the social media. So in these engagements, the NSA, whoever that you visit, will make clarifications. And when NLC comes out, they inform Nigerians authoritatively that this is what it is, this is what it is, this is what they can decipher from this conversation, and this is the best way to go. You sit down and say protest. What will protest do? Even some of the people who are committing these crimes will join you in the protest. And be chanting, we want security. Even the people who commit, because some of the people who do these kidnappings are clinical. They are part of us. They live among us, just like a guerrilla warfare thing. So you might not even know who is who. You don't need ID card to join protest. You don't need a thumbprint to join protest. You don't need your NIN to join protest. Anybody can join protest. And before you know it, stealing, looting, and all the rest of them will be part of it. And who does it help? It doesn't help anybody. So NLC should wake up and do something more productive. They are wasting the time of Nigerians.
Oh, okay. Let's bring the conversation back to the studio. Do you really think that NLC are wasting the time of Nigerians? And do you think that we don't really need a protest for the government to hear that Nigerians are being kidnapped? Maybe they've not really understood the level or the magnitude of the kidnapping happening in Nigeria and how people are being killed, in the numbers and all that, and the hardship Nigerians are being faced with.
See, whatever action that could be taken to jolt the government out of their reverie, it's going to be good for Nigerians. Anything that could be done to wake them up from slumber, so that they can become responsive to Nigerians and the needs of Nigerians, is allowed. It's okay. But the thing is that when those who are supposed to champion it goes in bed with the people who they want to protest against, and in that dead of night, the whole problems of Nigeria, the insecurity and everything got sorted out that same night. Then there's no protest.
Now that brings me to my question now. When you talk about planned protests, do you see any planned protests making any impact? Because historically, globally, if you go through protests that have changed the face of humanity and all of that, they are never planned. They are spontaneous. So these planned protests, how do they help us?
It would have helped in a way that at least to bring to consciousness the issues on ground. And the government will also want to do one or two things that will also help the fight against insecurity. Because if everybody becomes so complacent and everyone say, concern me.
And exactly my point. Now that it's been planned, the government has stepped in, government has made assurances. The next thing we hear, or the next thing that we'll hear is, look, we are working on it. So NLC will come to say, look, it's okay, we are not going to do
You see, under the law, NLC cannot just start a protest immediately. They must give notice.
Okay.
So that is what is happening. They have to give notice.
So basically,
it is when the people revolt. And that is the most dangerous one, because that leads to anarchy. It's when it becomes so spontaneous. And it will be difficult to control at that point in time. So we pray that it doesn't get to that point, because when, that's why we keep saying that, let government do things that, will be clean.
And when the government fails to do those things, and the people take to spontaneous reaction,
that will be it's an invitation, to anarchism. And no society, prays for that. Because you may just, Moses might just be walking out of the studio. They say, I love this man's shirt. And they will collect the shirt from you and take the tie. You won't do anything. It's a mob action. So every society, tries to stop that kind of action from taking place. So it is still better now that people are doing planned protests or planning things. If it gets to the point where the people will revolt, you can't control it. Nobody knows where it will get to. And that would be very, very dangerous for any society.
Interesting indeed. Thank you so much, Mr. Samir Ranta, for your submission. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll touch on the third topic of conversation. Nigeria's Corporate Affairs Commission Chief accused of forcing small businesses to pay inflated registration fees. We'll look into this after this break. Please do well to stay with us.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Now let's get into final conversation on VOP this morning. Allegations of large-scale extortion, abuse of office, and financial impropriety have engulfed the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, the country's business registration agency. The allegations center on claims that the commission ordered fintech companies to collect inflated business registration fees from hundreds of thousands of small business owners across the country. Multiple sources within the CAC, the fintech ecosystem, and the small business community told journalists that the Registrar General of the Commission, Hussaini Ishaq Magaji SAN, allegedly compelled major fintech companies, including MoneyPoint, OPay, and PalmPay, to enforce business name registration on small business owners at rates far above the official government-approved fee. Now, at the center of the allegation is a scheme that allegedly saw over 300,000 micro and small business owners forced to pay 20,000 naira each for business name registration, despite the official CAC fee being 10,500 naira at the time. Now, sources said the 9,500 naira difference per registration was allegedly diverted to a private consultant handpicked by the Registrar General, raising concerns of large-scale extortion, abuse of office, and possible criminal conspiracy. Now, well, we do have our guests with us. Kelvin Ajumudo joins us from Benin, and Somi Ranta with us in the studio. Kelvin, I would like to start off with you. Exorbitant registration fees, that's what small businesses are having to deal with at this time. Well, these allegations against the CAC, and these companies whose names have been mentioned in this report as put out there in the public domain, these companies, PalmPay, the rest of them, OPay, and the rest. But how much of this would you say, what's the implication of this on small businesses? Because we understand that small businesses are basically the live wire of any economy. Now, when they are made to pay more than necessary amounts for registration, what will be the impact of it? I don't want to guide you or lead you with my questioning, but what will be the impact of this on small businesses?
This clearly shows a level of less empathy that some of us Nigerians are. The small, they are the driving force of every economy. And these are persons that, against all odds, they are just trying to survive. Some of them are just afloat in business. They don't even make huge profit. But just to keep body and soul together, to avoid being docile, to avoid just, going to crime, they've decided to open a small
But is it possible that the CAC itself can claim ignorance of this? Is it possible that the CAC may not be aware of these?
They are 100% aware. The civil service, a lot of them are more corrupt than our politicians. But oftentimes we don't even look.
Okay.
Oftentimes we don't even look towards them because we are just, attacking our politicians. But at 500 to money, you see that the small money people pay it with ease, but cumulatively, 5,000 small and medium scale business, you collected 9,500 from them. That's a huge money. And when we ask for the upturn time, what is the job of the EFCC and the ICPC? They have left their job. These are jobs they ought to investigate. They ought to trace monies in government coffers, where it entered and where it's going to at the end point. But we won't keep wondering. EFCC have become a push and start agency, including the ICPC. If you don't push them to fight against opposition, they don't move.
How possible do you think that would be, Mr. Kelvin Ajumudo? Because according to this insider who lets news outlets, gather this information, There was another revelation that this individual who is being used now to siphon the 9,500 got a waiver from Central Bank of Nigeria, for the fintech company. You understand? And also that the CAC boss is aware of that. And at the end of each transaction, he's entitled to take home 3,500 naira from it. Imagine when we have over 300,000 small-scale businesses remitting a certain 3,500 to a private account, not the one made available by the federal government for the CSC to collect 110,500 naira. What does portend for the strife for Nigeria to elevate more people out of poverty and create job opportunity?
It shows that they are draining our great minds. You see young entrepreneurs in Nigeria, if they find a way out of the church of the country, they, in 2 years, they find their feet. They do well in business. But in the Nigerian soil, everybody wants to extort you. The cashier and the general hospital want to extort you.
Okay.
The security man in the revenue office want to take something from you. The man that does your CSC registration for you want to take money from you. The bank security that opens the door for you will say anything for the boys. The airport, everybody
that has nothing to do with the CAC. But we're focusing on the CAC at this point.
This is a national disgrace to work at the people.
All right, so you've pointed fingers
because we have done all of that we want to do, and you are starting to
all right. Thank you very much.
No. Let me learn. They should get the list of people that have extorted this money from and return the money back to them with interest, because this money has a good interest. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Kelvin Ejimudo. Now, Mr. Somi Ranta, Nigeria has been talking about the ease of doing business. How much of this contradicts the ease of doing business in Nigeria?
Well, in fact, I had to...
This allegation, because it's still an allegation, so let's just emphasize
it's
that.
Not an allegation. I am an entrepreneur. I just showed him, it's always, even when I had gone ahead to register the business name I use with MoneyPoint, they still keep sending me the messages. 19,000 something, almost 20, a few kobo, less than 20,000. Even when I have, registered that business.
How much did you pay?
No, I did it, not with them.
With CSE?
I did with CSE, but not through the MoneyPoint people.
How much did you pay with CSE? To CSE, I beg your pardon.
It's like that 10,000 something.
9,000.
10,500.
10,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are saying even MoneyPoint is still sending me message asking me to register my business. So they advertise it.
Could it be
if you have a business with them.
Could it be a bot thing where the system just continues to send you a message?
Because it's been set, the system is set up, to do a certain job. So it's what it's doing. But people who have already done that are not supposed to get such messages. But it shows how desperate this is. But that's not even my issue. My issue is the fact that the entrepreneur, the small and medium scale enterprises in Nigeria are going through very serious hardship. You see, the fact that you have to be your own, you have to get your own security, you have to provide water, you have to provide light, you have everything you have to do. Then the system, different government agencies will come for this, for that, for that. At the end of the day, we are not building an economy.
The government is talking about unified tax system. Do you think that will solve the problem?
Local government will come,
multiple
the
taxation.
environment people will come, the tax people will come, the state.
Yes,
federal.
but now, come January 2026, do you think the issue of multiple taxation would be solved? Are you pleased to welcome that?
You see, until you see the implementation, that is what will tell us what to do or how to see it. Because as it is, everything in Nigeria, there's always a lacuna between theory and practice. So to bridge that gap is when we see the thing being practiced. That will determine whether truly they are saying. But I tell you, the onslaught against the entrepreneurs in Nigeria, the SMEs. I am a full SME person who do whole seminars on SME virtually every other year. even to to student communities. But the thing is, if we continue like this, we will not grow this economy. Because the small businesses that can take 20, 10, 5.
Indeed.
You know, and then there are millions. The big companies, the mega companies, if they take 1,000 people or 100 people, how many of such companies do we have in Nigeria? It is the small ones that have over, there are about 30 million SMEs in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
You know, so if you let them keep suffering, that's why when I see the government talk about the system, they want to create funds for SMEs, I say, where is it coming from? I am an SME person. I've not seen any.
Beautiful. That's the question I wanted to ask you. Well, how intentional has the government been, in trying to promote SMEs? Like we know SMEs, you and Moses have, chorused it, the bedrock, of economic growth. They do more than the big corporations in terms of spreading employment and all of that. But we have the Bank of Industry. How much have they done? We have NISA.
Go there
we also
and
have
try.
NISA.
They will ask you the
NISA
things even the commercial banks will not ask for.
Okay. How about NISA? NISA, owned between the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria.
I have not gotten any. You see what they do is that it's like they outsource their business to the microfinance banks. And these are killers. They have knives, two-edged sword that will cut off the necks of the SMEs. Okay. You see, the government, the system is, tweaked around, against the survival of SMEs in Nigeria. And we can't grow an economy without the support of these SMEs. So, if there is funds for SMEs development, I should be among the people that should get it. Because I run a business where over 40 Nigerian youths to 50 are earning their living through the business. So why can't we access it? And it's like that all over the place.
So do you collaborate with Smedan? You know Smedan?
I know Smedan.
Okay.
Everything in Nigeria is man, no man. Things are not done, by merit. The system keep forcing in square pegs in round holes.
All right,
so there's always an on-pass.
All right, then let's get to Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. I just learned that you rejoined the conversation. Let's get your thoughts on this one and how this affects growth. If the government is saying, look, we are putting reforms for ease of doing business, but then small businesses are having to pay through their noses, and then these fintechs are breathing down the necks of businesses. How really is this going to help, grow the economy if small businesses cannot even grow?
What I think is happening with that CAC thing and those about security than just registration of business, because most of these POS operators are used for so many things, and you can't even trace whoever that it is. The KYC thing has not been working well there. So I think what the CAC is trying to do is to revitalize the KYC issue and let everybody know who is in charge of whatever businesses. But that notwithstanding, what happens is that the portals for Nigerian government agencies, so whether it is a deliberate thing or not, I don't know, but they now create an indirect access to. Before you can access the portals, you now have to pay. Take example, if you want to do a change of name or whatever change you want to do with your NIN, if you open the portal, it's always very difficult to access it. And you spend a lot of time and data and you don't get it. But when you go to all those agencies or small private individuals, agencies that does these things, you pay a lot of money and they get it done for you. So this is what is happening. The money might not be directly to CAC as a company, as a Nigerian company.
But can CAC claim ignorance? Can CAC claim ignorance in all of this? Can they claim that they don't know?
It cannot. Because if you have a portal that is inaccessible and you allow these other people to access it and get people to from people, that means you are not living up to your responsibility. because your portal is supposed to be accessible to whoever that wants to access it without restrictions. They don't need to go through a third party.
All right, then.
So these are the things that should be handled. And another thing is, we need to check, we need to ask, at what point did the 10,500 or whatever stand as registration fee? Has it been increased? Because if you look at a lot of things have been increased now, everything is the increment. So how much, when was that? How much was it then? And how much is it now? When was it collected? How much was it when it was collected? So we need to look at all these issues too. But the most important thing is let Nigerians have access to these portals with ease. And then these SMEs, I must confess, they are going through a lot of things, but most Nigerians do not want to pay tax. Most Nigerians want to cut corners. Most Nigerians, it's only civil servants that are always pay tax, because it's deducted from source. A man who owns a shop that makes millions of naira, once you give him a tax, whatever of 10,000, there will be war.
All right,
they can say anything.
This would be a good place.
Most businesses don't want to pay.
Well, this will be a good place to anchor the conversation because we're absolutely out of time. Thank you very much, Honorable Kelvin Ejiofor Igwatu, I beg your pardon, Honorable Ejiofor Igwatu. Thank you very much, Kelvin Ejimujo as well. Thank you very much, Somi Oranta, for your time and your contribution on the program. But that's it of VOP this morning. Coming up next is newspaper review, where Chukuma and I will dive into the dailies, looking at those headlines, those stories, and trying to make sense of it all. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Join us again at 10.